check this out. I know when buying a home for the first time can be a very stressful process. But that's why it's good to get with a good lender like my buddy Jared Nicholson from Key Mortgage Group. He's so active to educate his borrowers and also let people be aware of their blind spots. This is a good man to make your lifetime lender, to make your process super, super stress-free, and don't be turned off by the housing process. You can follow him and find him at jnhomeloan.com. So let me spell that out for you. jnhomeloan.com. So tap in with him. Jared NMLS number is 1969744. I repeat that. 1969744. Yo, welcome back to another episode of the Minds with Hakeem podcast. On this episode, we had the pleasure of speaking to my brother, Larry Tweedy. Larry is a loving husband and a father and the host of the wonderful The Only Chip in the Cookie podcast. On this episode, we unpack family, the importance of relationships and maintaining and getting rid of them, and also a little bit on social justice. Hope you guys tune in and enjoy what Larry had to unpack for you guys today. And always remember, it's love, y'all. Yo, welcome back to the Minds with Hakeem podcast. I got a special guest, a brother of mine who I met virtually and pleasure. Like, we literally just met on set in person, and it's about to be y'all in for a treat. Say what's up to the people, Larry, bro.
Hey, what's going on, y'all? It's Larry from Iowa here. I guess formally known as Larry Twitty. So,
yes, sir.
What's going on, bro?
Man, chilling, dog. It's been a big, like, we've been trying to get you on, and I know me and you we just couldn't connect on the right time, but I feel like timing is everything. I feel like it's a blessing that you're here today, bro. And just thank you for being a part of spilling into my people. I cannot wait to unpack today, man.
Hey, man, I appreciate you inviting me.
Absolutely.
I've been a fan of your podcast for a while now. I was introduced to you by the good homie Julian.
Yeah,
it was also on my podcast. But you know what? It was actually my cousin that put me on. He said, "Hey, have you ever heard about this podcast? It's called The Minds." And he sent me over the clip. He goes, "Man, I think it's a local cat, an Iowa cat, but like they have like a big studio presence."
I didn't know about this.
Yeah,
I didn't know about this.
Yeah, and it's interesting too, like how these things like align and connect, because then Julian hit me up and made the connection that y'all knew each other. And I'm like, man, but that's
Iowa's so small, but it's a pleasure that happened though. And you got to tell me that cousin name when we get off.
Word.
I owe him one.
Absolutely.
We owe him a shout out. Actually, we're gonna give him hand claps right now. Yeah, this for him for tuning in and being a fan.
Shout out to cousin Brando.
Let's go.
For real.
Yeah.
Shout out to Brando.
Let's go. But bro, you've been tapped in and you're a follower of us, and we respect that. So you already know what's coming. Icebreaker question. Your top 3 people dead or alive you choose to have a cup of coffee with, to be a sponge with, and to also give what you know.
Man, I'm going to say number 1, Snoop Dogg. Because, man, I just love Snoop Dogg. I feel like
icon.
I feel like he's an icon, but like for me, he just seems like so genuine. He's that dude that he'll just have you dying laughing. He's silly, but he has a good heart.
Down to earth.
He's caring. He's down to earth. He's for his people.
Mm-hmm.
He's got that hustle, that entrepreneurial spirit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's great.
Love that answer.
I would love to talk to Joe Budden.
Hey, we just had an interesting convo about Joe.
I love Joe Budden, man, and I'm 36 years old, man. So I grew up when Pump It Up like first came out.
Yes,
and I'm gonna be honest with you, I can't name. That's the only Joe Budden song I can name, right?
Me too.
So I'm not really into his
too.
music, but I feel like, with Joe, like I can see past all the screaming and the yelling and all the crazy talk,
understand.
And I can, like when he was going through the thing with Spotify, I was like 100% on board with his movement to go independent, stuff like that. And I've totally subscribed to I shouldn't say I subscribed, but I understand that big risk, big reward type of mentality. So would love to kick it with Joe Budden. Would love to kick it with Snoop.
That right there is already an interesting group, bro. Like,
and then, gosh, if I had to think of a third person, let's see. I'll say let's think of someone that's passed on. A third person. Gosh, I don't even.
It's
know,
hard.
bro.
This is a hard question, and it changed by whatever season you in.
Yeah, it definitely changes. It definitely changes. You know, I don't know, man. I think maybe Cleopatra. You know, why not? You know, talk to a black queen and
respectfully so. No, absolutely. Why not? You know how much game gonna be in that conversation?
Absolutely. Like, so
hey, that's probably the most diverse. Which they all black, so we probably can't say diverse, but the most diverse like spectrum of like the way, because we kind of know how all three of them think. I'm like, yo, that's a pretty diverse group.
You know, it's diverse, man. We've got your weed smoker.
Yeah.
We've got your former angel dust addict. Yeah. We've got a queen slash leader and all that stuff.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know.
That's pretty, hey, however you want to spin it, I think it's diverse. So guess what? We're gonna go with diverse today.
Word.
But no, brother, I brought you on, man, to like, I want you to really spill into us, because like I was just talking about like our relationship virtually and how we just clicked tight when we just met on set. So I want to talk to you a little bit about relationships, bro. And I know that's something you obviously value through connecting with you. So
sure.
First of all, like I want to start it. What is the importance to you in relationships? Like what is how strong is the relationship value to you?
Man, listen, so you know, if we're talking about, romantic relationships, that kind of thing, well, I'm married. And actually this year, my wife and I will be celebrating our 10-year anniversary.
Hold up.
Hey, give it up.
10 years, baby.
Yep,
yes, sir.
10 years.
Man.
We're going to Montego Bay.
Let's go. We
celebrate
get out of here. Decade season.
You know, so I'm
you look excited.
Man, I really am excited, but like here's the thing. I'm not just going with my wife. I'm going with my wife who is also truly my best friend.
Absolutely.
Like we literally this is gonna sound so corny, but like one of our favorite things to do is when the kids go to bed, you know, we'll make charcuterie plates.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
No, for real.
Chop up the cheeses and get the meats going, man. And the nut thins and the hummus and
that simplicity screams.
All that stuff, man. Yeah, and we love to sit and watch shows on Netflix or whatever, and we literally say to each other, "You're my best friend." No, you're my best friend. Like it's dorky like
Let's
that.
go.
But you know what though, man? We had to work really hard to get to that point, and we're still working. Yep. You know, I mean, we were bickering this morning a little bit.
Literally,
if I'm keeping it real, you know. So, but I'll tell you what I value in a relationship, it's definitely evolved over the years. Like I said, I've been married for 10 years now. When I met my wife, I was actually a single father. I was a single dad, and my oldest, she was young. She was maybe just barely a year old. So I had this mentality of I need to find a wife. I need to find someone that can help hold me down, help me to raise this kid, this beautiful girl, this daughter of mine to be, the best version of herself, I guess. And I so my mind shifted that way, you know, and so it wasn't just like, just like casually dating and stuff like that. I was very intentional.
You went in with serious intention.
I really did. And my wife and I, we met and we clicked. Pretty instantly, I'd say. But then, as we started to, have children and get married and all that other stuff, I realized that, there's more to this than just what I need and what I'm seeking in a relationship and all those other things. And, we really had to find, and define our foundation.
Yeah.
Like what are we about? What's important to us? And so now 10 years in the game, what I value in my relationship is just the unconditional support that my wife gives me, and that isn't necessarily her being a yes man to me.
Yeah.
My wife will keep it 100 with me,
real raw,
no matter what. She keeps it funky with me. She's I call her she gets the uncredited title of executive producer of my podcast.
Yeah.
She listens to every single episode. I go ahead and edit it and stuff like that, and just put it out there. But she listens to it and she'll be like, hey, especially in the beginning, she'd be like, hey, man, that ain't it. You got dial it back. I would try this, or I would do this, and y'all guys were having a good conversation, and then you went kind of left and blah blah blah. But it was literally critique that made me a better host, made me a better podcaster. But yeah, man, she supports me. She keeps it real, and I can just go on and on.
No,
man.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And then when you speak it, I'm just like my fiance just keep running through my mind because it's literally the same thing. Like she will keep it raw with me, but I want to ask you this though.
Yeah.
Don't it hurt so bad when she keep it honest with you?
Oh,
but you
gosh.
gotta listen because you know she wouldn't be telling you that if it wasn't real.
Bro, I got my feelings hurt so bad this morning, man. I was talking to her about a conversation that I had with a friend of mine.
Yeah.
And there was a point in the conversation where I was kind of annoyed with my friend. Mm-hmm. So I'm casually venting to my wife, and she's like, "Well, if you would have responded to me the way you responded to your friend, I'd be pissed off too, that kind of thing, right?" And so, my chest kind of puffs up, I was like, "Hey, that's how we talk," that kind of thing, and then man, like usual, the dust kind of settles, and I'm thinking man, she is right.
Maybe she's right.
That is a good point. Maybe the homie understood where I was coming from, but at the same time, was it necessary for me to lead that way? She reminds me all the time. Maybe you should try. Not that I'm some Oscar the Grouch or whatever.
Yeah.
But she says things all the time you got to lead with kindness. She always says that. She says that to our children. She says that to me. She always talks about leading with kindness, and she talks about for those that you're close to, really hanging on to those qualities that they naturally provide that you vibe with.
Yes.
Right. We have this conversation a lot with my dad, for instance. My pops, I love this dude so much. He is so dope. I think he's so cool.
Pops.
We probably have a similar personality as far as outgoing and loud and stuff like that. But, he's not necessarily the kind of dude that's going to just pop up at the crib and be like, "Hey guys, what's up? You want to hang out?" or whatever. He kind of just does his own thing. He shows love in other ways, but not necessarily the way that I show love to my sons, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And I had a hard time dealing with that for a very long time. I took it personal. I tried to talk to him about it, and he kind of didn't really see where I was coming from.
He just didn't understand because that wasn't him.
Absolutely, right. And so she really helped me to kind of alter my mind state a little bit. Sure. Hey, you know what? He's 60 whatever years old. He probably not going to change, but there's a million things that you love about your pops.
Yeah.
So run with that, bro.
Let people be them.
Right.
You see, our women, most women in general, a good woman gonna keep you checks and balances, even when it's hard. It's a hard conversation. They allow us men to be open-minded. Like,
Word.
so I can relate to a lot of things you're saying, just different stories. I'm like, yo, like, I feel this, brother. Like, for real. But as far as, like, your relationships in general, too, like, with family, wife, pops, and friends, what is the importance of those relationships evolving?
Man, I'm gonna tell you this, man. It's I don't know if it was Will Smith or somebody out there. I mean, this is a familiar saying, but I think Will Smith kind of summarized this at some point. But he said something to the effect of like, you become who you hang around, right? And as I mentioned, it took a while, for instance, for my relationship with my wife. It took a long time for me to describe it the way that I would describe it now.
Yeah.
The first 5 years of our marriage was just like kind of rough, because I wasn't necessarily thinking like the unit first.
Yeah.
Pretty much my whole world was, okay, what does Twitty want to do today? What does Larry want to do today? And as far as the rest of the responsibilities, how does that kind of fit in with my game plan, right? And so when you've got, Rugrats and a wife and stuff like that, living
Rugrats.
Yeah, living selfishly like that, what I'm saying? Like that's not gonna get it done. It's not gonna work. It's not conducive to a healthy relationship. And so as it relates to friendship, there was a time where, I'm not really a big fan of text threads anymore, but there was a time where I was on the text thread, and there's like 10 homies on the text thread. Yeah. And at one point we were all married. At one point.
The conversations come to
and then over time, that text thread became like the single man's thread. You know what I'm saying? And which ain't nothing wrong with divorce or splitting up or whatever, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But like, if you're not necessarily in like, happy wife, happy life kind of mind state, if you're not necessarily in that certain pocket, then, you're gonna be doing your thing.
Yeah.
And so, I for sure was kind of being influenced by like this kind of like single guy mentality. That doesn't mean that I was like out running around and stuff like that.
No, for sure.
But like and so anyway, my point is, I did come to a point where I just made the realization like, I need to be with the partners that are feeding me. You know what I mean? Like, I need to surround myself and continue to surround myself by the gentlemen that have common goals as me. Not that we all need to do the same thing, but just I want to be around dudes that like being around their wives, being around their kids and stuff like that. And so that became something that I just knew that I had to do, just really be intentional around the kind of energy that I kept around me,
Yeah. And like I'm glad you said that, because I do want to hear your opinion about getting away from those relationships. How hard is it to like that's your man, it's like that's your guy? How hard is it to like split, like, because that relationship isn't helpful?
Listen. I kind of had to do it cold turkey. I wish I could tell you that I had like some plan or some conversation, but honestly, like, I mean, it just kind of, like I said, man, and I love the homies, I love the brothers,
Absolutely.
That kind of thing.
Need them,
but there just came a point where, our text thread was getting a little wild, and some of my friends were kind of doing some wild stuff, and one of the homies got caught up, doing some mess.
Stuff. Yeah.
And the girl, he wasn't married, but the girlfriend found out, and she's texting wives and stuff like that.
We don't need that.
And my wife was in the crossfire, so that experience, like, for an outside influence to disrupt my relationship, my marriage. You know what I'm saying?
It ain't worth it.
Yo, it was not worth it, bro.
Not.
It was not worth it. Like, man, like I need my wife. I need my family. I need all this shit.
It's important. It's important for all your brothers, sisters to know that on earth, this is the most important relationship I have. This relationship is more important than me and my mom, me and my dad. Like this relationship, so ain't nothing gonna come in between this.
Absolutely.
So going cold turkey ain't nothing wrong with that.
Absolutely,
you got to do what you had to do.
Man, the moment that all that stuff went down, and all this stuff, I was like, hey, y'all, I'm out. Yeah. And I just left it at that, and I remember they kept trying to add me in. I was like, no, I'm for real. I'm done.
It's over with.
And and I did eventually have conversations with each of those dudes.
Absolutely.
At least the mainly the single ones.
Yeah.
But I did have conversations with them individually. And I was like, no, you still my mans. We still cool.
Yeah.
But like, I just can't,
devote
my free seconds checking my phone, catching up with what y'all are talking about and doing and looking at them pictures or whatever.
It come that time, man.
Yeah, man.
It come that time.
Yeah,
that's good because like that's evolving. Like whether you like it, whether it's good or bad for like you at the beginning, but like over time, we got to protect that relationship. That's the covenant.
Man, that was one of the best decisions I ever made. Was just kind of jumping off of that, man, and they respected it. They're good friends. They're good bros. And so now my little text thread consists of my brother-in-law, my cousin, and my best friend that I've known since I've known him since 5th grade, but we got really tight. In the 7th grade. And we've been rocking with each other ever since. So it's just kind of this small little group of like married men that are just trying to, take care of their kids
day by day. Nah, for sure. You found your pod that you need to be in. It works for you. Like
it works for me.
Yeah,
it works for me.
Dope, man. Before we hit on a couple other topics, I want to jump towards the podcast. And you run your show with another co-host, correct?
Yeah.
What's her name?
Yeah. Her name is Shekinah.
Yes, and yes. The pod is the only chip in the cookie.
The only chip in the cookie. Yeah. So
kind of open that up for us,
absolutely, brother. Absolutely. Let's see. So I do not know how to tell short stories, so I apologize.
This is space. You good.
So I've been a fan of podcasts for probably, this is going to sound crazy, but probably for about 20 years now.
Wow.
I remember
I didn't even know about podcasts.
Podcast originally was like kind of like an Apple thing.
Yeah.
And back in the day, like you had to like log onto your computer to listen to a podcast or something like that. It wasn't even on iTunes, bro.
Really?
It was like, it was just like wave files. Like,
okay.
I'm telling you, man. Like, so, but I've always been in the podcast for one, and then two, I've lived in the Des Moines metro area for most of my life, and but I've just had these like funny experiences. Kind of as a kid, I had experiences going back and forth between schools, right? So I had experiences with predominantly white suburban schools. Yep. And then I've also had experience within the Des Moines public schools, which are more diverse schools and things like that. So, I literally had straddled between kind of like both fences there, right? Yeah. And then as an adult, working in corporate America, a lot of times, I mean, pretty much most of my career, I was the only black person in the office, or maybe one of few. Definitely I've up until my current 9 to 5. I don't think I ever had a job where I had more than one or two black coworkers, right? And so I always thought that like the experiences that I went through, with whether it was with school or on the job, I always felt like there's no way that I'm the only black dude that's like going through these kinds of things, right? And I know that there's more people out there that if they don't want to talk about it, they at least want to hear about it and get some kind of validation. Like, okay, cool.
I can relate to that.
I'm not going crazy, right? I mean, I remember, working somewhere, and Black Lives Matter came to prominence, and I'd have all these. I'd have certain coworkers, kind of press me.
Yeah.
Like, the resident black person.
Yeah.
And kind of the token brother. And they would ask me about like these issues or these movements or stuff like that. And I'm thinking like, oh, you want to have a conversation? Great.
Yeah.
And then come to find out, that wasn't their intention at all.
Yeah.
They were perturbed, or they were ignorant, or just rubbed the wrong way about something that they saw, and they wanted to prosecute, as my co-host would say, or they wanted to kind of press me about these things. Yeah. And basically, regardless of whatever I said, unless I agreed with them, they basically wanted an opportunity to check me. But it really wasn't about checking me. It was about checking the black folks that they thought were trying to take from their privilege or whatever, that kind of thing, right? Privilege. And then I'm like, I'd be in these situations where now I have to get kind of defensive.
Now I got to turn up.
Now I got to turn up a little bit, and now it's like, oh, he's one of them. He's an angry black guy, that kind of thing, right?
Throw you in that box,
right? Absolutely. And so I was like, man, I gotta. One of these days I have to find a way to document these experiences. Mm-hmm. And so, and actually what I ended up doing, I created this anonymous Instagram account. It was called Black at Work. Yeah. Right. And it was just me kind of like posting about my experiences being a black dude working in a predominantly white environment. Yeah. Sometimes I'd go down memory lane and talk about some stuff I went through at school. I'd post memes and stuff like that kind of like poke fun or just kind of talk about this space. Like the meme of like it'd show a picture of like Steve Urkel and then Tupac, and it's like my work voice versus how I talk at home. Yeah. Talking about code switching and stuff like that.
Funny memes, but it was talking real.
Yeah,
real
exactly.
Spill.
Yeah. And so, that kind of amassed, a small following. And then honestly, man, when just in 2020, we had the tragedies unfold. Mm-hmm. We had the murder of Breonna Taylor, the murder of Ahmaud Arbery, the murder of George Floyd. Mm-hmm. That's what gave me the license to be like, you know what, forget all this hide behind this cloak crap.
Let's come out.
You know what I mean? Like nah, we now's the time. Mm-hmm. Now's the time to be authentically who I am, and I can use these stories, I can use these experiences to try to provide an impact in a positive way to those that see themselves as allies. Yeah. Right? Because even at all these jobs, even though I've had all these crazy experiences and stuff like that, there are always like, one or two people that would kind of pull me aside and be like, yo, that was crazy. I can't believe so said that to you, blah, blah, blah. I reported it to HR, that kind of thing. Like, oh, wow, cool. And so really I wanted to create a space where, not only could I detail and describe these experiences, but I was also thinking on the other side too, like perhaps, or maybe I can share some things that can help that ally who, wants to provide support, but maybe they just don't know how.
Don't know how to do it. So that's beautiful that you like open up the realm for them. Because like when I hit you up about the pod, he was like, bro, my podcast for white people. I'm like, bruh, like, man, you should have seen. And it's hard to judge reflections through text message. But I'm like, this brother said. He's like, my podcast is to provide understanding for white people. We know.
That's funny. That's funny. I was probably, I was definitely a little tongue in cheek with that response. I mean, it is, for white people, in terms of
seeking understanding,
getting an education, and it's an opportunity for a black person to say what they need to say. Absolutely. Without the without the whatabouts.
Yeah.
Well, what about, what
This.
is it?
And she had that. And
Yeah.
he did that.
Exactly.
Talk about
absolutely.
you can't interrupt me.
You can't interrupt me.
Yes.
I can get this off. And, if you got something to say, you can give me a low rating on iTunes, or you can type something in the comments or whatever.
It's only gonna help.
But you know what? I ain't going to read that comment.
Yeah.
I ain't,
You're not finna take my joy.
Exactly. You're not going to take my joy. You're absolutely right. And so, it's really for I would say, officially, it's really for both. It's for brothers like us. It's for anybody that knows what it's like to be the only chip in the cookie. So, I speak from a black perspective, but one of the reasons why I wanted to bring on Shekinah for season 2 is because I also wanted to share a female perspective as well.
I thought that was brilliant.
Yeah, man, thanks. So really, it's for anyone that has ever felt isolated, felt like they couldn't be their authentic self at school or on the basketball team or at work or whatever. And then, it's also for allies from outside of our community that really do want to make a difference, that really do want to help impact our lives and our way of life and stuff like that.
And we finna dive in deeper, but I just want to jump in and take a quick break so we can come back from thanking our sponsors. Yo, this is Jawan Hakeem here with the Minds with Hakeem podcast, sharing the Iowa-based nonprofit Jonathan House International. We have JHI's director with us today, here to share their mission statement.
Our mission statement at JHI is walking with communities to bring spiritual and physical transformation.
Now tell us a little bit more about what you guys do at JHI.
At JHI, we support international missions being led by local people. We support them through their operations, spiritual development, and economic development projects.
Now, how can the Minds with Hakeem community support you guys and stand behind you?
There's a few different ways to get involved. You can become a sponsor either of a child, support one of our leaders working in different countries, volunteer with us, really anything that you feel like you have a gift to give. We want to receive it, and we want to help others with that.
Now tell us how the Minds with Hakeem community can financially support JHI.
Even starting with as little as $5 makes a huge impact on our organization and those that we sponsor. Every little bit helps, and we just want to invite you to walk with us as we walk with communities. Nice.
Now, last but not least, tell us where we can locate you guys and how can we get in contact with y'all.
You can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and our website at jonathanshouse.intl.org.
So now I think this is the perfect time to just flow into something I wanted to get your perspective on. You've seen it from a different realm than me in Iowa, me being from Texas, but now I'm here now. I kind of got both sides of it, but I didn't have no understanding in Texas. I'm really acquainted to Iowa. I grew up here. I became a man here.
Yeah,
so let's talk about social injustice and social justice, however you want to put it.
Yeah.
But can you talk about the pandemic, what we experienced during the pandemic with the murders first? And I know you said it obviously inspired you to come out and let's do. They need this education. They need to understand. But can you talk about the sense of you and your family in that sense, or just yourself personally?
Yeah, absolutely, man. And you mentioned family. My family. We're no stranger to conversations about blackness, and we're no stranger to talking about race in general, or talking about what's happening in the world. And during the pandemic, there was no, not that we try to hide those things from our kids, but there was no hiding it,
Absolutely.
And so, when the police were filmed doing these atrocious things, these acts of brutalization to black folks, my kids had some questions.
For sure.
And they were kind of prepped because, You know, see, I had always talked to my kids about, you know, especially when they were little, I would talk to them about blackness, right? I would talk to them about Africa. I'd talk to them about civilization and chess and kings and queens and all those kinds of things. I didn't necessarily talk to them about like racism and stuff like that. One, I didn't really know how to introduce that conversation to them, but I knew that if something went down, you know, I'd be ready. And man, I think it was either 2015 or 2016 when those police officers from Urbandale, when they were murdered by a white person. But I just remember my kids, they went to Urbandale schools at the time, and so school was canceled that day. And we have the news on, and they're talking about it. And my son, he's now 11. You know, so he was 5 or 6 at the time, and he just said, you know, Daddy, did somebody black kill the police officers because they were tired of what the police were doing to black people? Right? Wow. Which that wasn't the case in that situation.
Wow.
And, you know, but that started our conversation about, man, not everybody values us the way that we do, you know. And there are some challenges that we face as black folk that have been with us ever since we were forced to come to this country, or forced to come to this land. And so, so now, you know, as the years go by, there's more and more events and things like that. But just with the pandemic, you know, there was no hiding it, no sugarcoating it. I mean, it was so, and you know, we had some tough times. You know, you know, we shed some tears. But you know, I'm just, you know, my kids, man, especially my 2 oldest ones. You know, I've got a 7th and a 5th grader, and they both had some assignments that they had to do at some point where they had to talk about Martin Luther King, or they had to talk about, you know, racial injustice or something like that. And I remember they both kind of separately, and they go to 2 different schools. You know, I got one in middle school and one in elementary school, you know, and I just remember them both talking to me about their projects. And I'm like, you know, reading their work, and they're talking about, you know, they're bringing up stuff like, you know, my oldest kid, she's talking about in her little report, talking about black folks being unjustly pulled over and things like that. And my son, he had to record a little video thing for his project. And my wife was interviewing him in the project, and they're talking about MLK, and he's saying stuff. My little guy, my little 5th grader, is saying stuff like, I believe that if MLK were still alive today, he would be active, he would be protesting, he would be giving speeches, because the same stuff that he was fighting against back then is still happening now. And you know, it was just one of those moments where it's like kind of bittersweet, because it's like, wow, this guy is smart, he's got it going on. He's tuned in, but at the same time,
he's an endangered species.
He's an endangered species, bro. He's so young, and you know, and seeing this trauma and having to talk about it, you know. And then he goes to a predominantly white school, which I'm so thankful that he does have some black homies. You know what I mean? Like he actually has a lot of friends from a lot of different backgrounds. But I'm just so glad that he has that connection. So yeah, man. I mean, the social justice stuff. You know, as far as it's the way that it's impacted my family. You know, it's been a journey for sure. You know, just having these conversations, and then you know, just seeing stuff, you know, play it on TV. Man, it seems like every week now, you know, there's just something happening that tugs at our hearts a little bit, you know, and so I don't know, man,
It's tough. No,
Yeah.
it's tough, and I want to ask you this too, because this is a big small fight in social justice. You got certain amount of kiddos. I ain't gonna say your amount of kiddos.
Oh,
That's
you
not
can
my
say it.
business.
Yeah,
That's
we
not,
got
I'm
five.
just saying. Yeah, I'm just saying that's not my business. But he said we got
five
Okay.
kids. Yeah. We got two beautiful daughters and,
Absolutely.
and 3 sons.
That's amazing. Now give it up for the kids. I just didn't want to,
That's
be
all good. I
respectful.
feel you. I
Yup.
feel you.
How important is education reform to you as a black parent?
Man.
As a parent in general. Golly.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So it's huge. You know, for instance, I'll stick with my 2 oldest kids, right? So they are 2 completely different learners. You know, they're both like super smart. Both have always gotten awesome grades and stuff, but they just learn completely different. One of my kids, my daughter, she can sit in class and just focus on whatever's being spoken and retain the work or whatever, right? My son, he only needs a little bit. He just needs a little bit of a nugget, and he'll figure out the work on his own.
Yeah.
And then he wants to either dive deeper or he's not interested.
Yep.
Right? And we've already kind of seen, I guess, some of the challenges of trying to educate sort of an outside the box thinker inside the box, you know? And so, so we've had to make some adjustments and work with the school and stuff like that there. But I can only imagine, we kind of have a mild case of all that stuff, right? But you go to larger cities, and these kids don't have a chance. It's like
shot.
The moment that they show any kind of sign of going against the grain or just any sign of independence or something like that, or just the smallest act of rebellion, it's like they want to throw them in the remedial classes. Yep. They want to, put them on all these
ADHD
drugs and stuff like that.
Yeah. No, that's real.
And and so stories like that break my heart, and it's like, and it makes me wish that it makes me wish for a lot of things, right? It's like, man, I wish there were more educators that can kind of relate to these kinds of students.
Yeah.
But then I look at the bigger picture of, a lot of people, it's hard finding teachers, period, these days, right?
Because they pay them crap.
They're not paying them, and it just seems like for a lot of local state governments, it seems like, man, they're trying to do whatever they can to not have to fund schools as much as they should.
Yeah.
In our state, they're talking about, if you're teaching off the 1619 curriculum, we can pull funding from your school. My co-host Shekinah, on one of our podcast episodes, we were talking about that, and she brought up a good point. She said that's an attack on these families. That's when you pull funding,
it's subtle attacks.
Yeah, absolutely. And so. And then I think, what good is all this education if when you go out, to try to get a job, you ain't getting hired or you're getting overlooked because your name is connected to your ancestors and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
And so
it's so many hoops and hurdles, but that's just to literally you named a few and you probably named 12.
Word.
Like I graduated from Grandview University right here. I couldn't find a job after I got a college degree. So
everyone will tell you how good of a school Grandview is.
They dummy down the college education for the brother now. Now you got to go through so much other hoops. It's all about who you know now. And if you ain't the right skin color or the right last name, you finna go through some more trials and tribulations because it used to be hard to get a college degree. Now that the black man or the black sister is able to walk into these universities and crush it, literally crush it.
Yeah.
Now they make that hard. Having a college degree, like the job I'm working now, I could have done when I was fresh out of high school.
Word.
Yeah, I didn't have discipline when I was straight out of high school. Yeah, you can argue that, but
sure,
it ain't hard what I'm doing.
Sure.
Sure.
Yeah.
So what do I have this degree for when there's no work for me to? I already gave y'all $80,000.
Right.
That's just another trend. That's we're in it. Like my age group is really the focal point in that, but like it's only gonna get worse as it goes.
Absolutely, man. So, like my man Hove said, I didn't list Jay-Z in my top 3 people that I'd want to have coffee with and stuff like that. And the only reason why I didn't list Jay-Z is because I'm not a starstruck kind of guy.
Yeah.
But if I ever saw Jay-Z, I would probably just like run in the opposite direction.
Yeah,
like I don't know.
That's hope.
I don't. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. Like I don't know if I'd be able to like contain myself. But
Jay a goat.
But man, I love Hove. But I can honestly say that my favorite album of his is his last one, 444.
Ooh, he was giving out game.
Absolutely.
And he was giving out knowledge.
Absolutely. And when he said financial freedom is our only hope, that really resonated with me, right? And it just made me think of a lot, my parents, my mom, for if any old heads are listening to this podcast, my mom is from Chesterfield, which is like I don't even know if this community still exists, but it's like, it was like a rural part of the east side, right? So she's kind of like a country girl. My dad is from the south side of Chicago, grew up in Stateway Gardens. I'm not going to say it's Cabrini Green, but it was like a dangerous, kind of environment, stuff like that. And through the grace of God, that's really all it was. Through the grace of God, they kind of got out of those environments, and they were able to raise my sister and I in a particular, in a certain environment, But their whole thing was, go to school, go to college, get a job, blah blah blah, right? But I'm kind of trying to go a different angle with my kids, right?
Yeah. So
I'm not opposed to my kids going to college and things like that. I'm certainly not opposed, but I'm probably more excited about hearing what kind of business ideas that they have, And even though they're kids now, I think man, if y'all have some ideas now, we can try to maybe try to plant a seed, maybe kind of build off of those so that by the time you're in high school, maybe you can make money now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's what I'm trying to instill in them. I'm trying to teach them a little bit about Robin Hood, like investing and stuff like that. And
that changes the mode.
It really does. And I realized that I didn't really know what I was doing, kind of like doing these trades on my own. So I'm like, okay, cool. Well, let me get on YouTube then and kind of educate myself and learn how this market stuff works. I'm just trying to do stuff so I can like influence them to think bigger picture than
school.
Just working for somebody.
So I'm glad you said that. I want you to hold that thought too, because working for somebody. Look at public school. You go to school 5 days a week for 8 hours.
Yeah.
It's a full-time job, bro.
They train job.
Public school trains employees, and I know me and my fiance, we're big on. We want to be able to get to a point financially where we can do homeschool.
Yeah. Because
we want, like you said, we want our kids to be free thinkers, be entrepreneurs. Like if I was thinking about what I was thinking about when I was 16, 17, I could be doing it then. That's why I said I wasn't mature enough because I was in the system. I was running the realm of Okay, you go to school. You work for 8 hours a week. That's what my mom do. I do it too.
Yep.
At school. So my mom at work. I'm at school for 8 hours.
Absolutely.
Full-time job.
Absolutely.
But
yeah,
I didn't mean to cut you
off.
off.
No. Actually, I'm glad that you brought that up because that just reminds me. You know, when I was growing up. Man, I'm from the generation where CD burners.
Yeah.
You probably don't even know what a CD burner is.
I do. Yeah, I used to burn the CDs. Nah, I used to write.
Man.
See, we listen to the Houston rap, so we write 0 on the burnt copy.
Pimp
C.
Absolutely.
On the burnt copy. Nah, yeah.
So you know, I'm from the era where you know, CD burners were a brand new thing, but you couldn't just like buy a CD burner, install it in your computer, and just start burning discs. You had to learn how to do that.
Yeah.
You had to learn how to download the WAV file and then encode the WAV file into an MP3 and then burn it, stuff like that, right?
It was a process.
So at the time, I was in 9th grade. I was going to a new school because we had moved to the suburbs, and so all of my friends were going to Hoover High School. But I'm at the suburban high school, right?
Yeah.
And so I figured out how to burn CDs. So now I'm making mixtapes, and I'm selling them to my kids at the high school that I go to.
Yeah.
But I'm also hooking my homeboys up, you know, with some packs to take to Hoover High School.
All coming back.
And I let them keep, you know, a portion of whatever they made from selling my CDs, right? And it's just stuff like that. Like I was making so much money that I was able to quit my job at McDonald's.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, but here's the thing though. When my parents saw what I was doing, they were just kind of like, okay.
Yeah.
You know?
They didn't understand it.
Right. But if my son was doing that, I'd be like, oh shoot,
let's blow it up.
You're a business owner now.
Let's blow it up.
This is a business, you know, and you know, I would work with him to kind of like take that mind state to you know, just carry, you know,
another level.
To another level. You know, it's still something to kind of like carry that idea into adulthood and whatever. You know, so
that's dope.
I don't know, man. You know, we got this. You know, I always have like just different ideas, different side hustles. You know, I have so many things that I've started and stopped and stuff like that. But one thing that's been kind of consistent for a little bit now is you know, we got this little t-shirt little business, right? And you know, when I took it to the next level and built a website, I actually had my kids help me design it, right?
Yeah.
So I said, okay, I did all this stuff. I need you guys to upload these images and do this and do that or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And if you guys help me put this together, I'll give you guys, you know, some coins, you know, some coins per sale, that kind of thing. It's not like we're selling a ton, you know. But they like, they took ownership, you know. They really took ownership. They felt proud. And like, dude, just today I get an email from my son's school counselor. Yeah. And she's like, hey, your son was telling me about, you know, you guys' t-shirt business, and I just want you to know, you know, I just went to the website and counted, and I'm like, wow, so my son is out, he's selling, exactly. I was so proud. I texted my wife. Sure. I was just like, man, this dude is out here promoting, like he's like, he don't even know it. Absolutely, man. And so, you know, so I'm you know, I don't come from a family of entrepreneurs really. Same. You know, I mean, I have an LLC and stuff like that. You know, make money sometimes I don't or whatever. But I just hope that, you know, my son, he's really big into architecture, you know, and he's like, you know, I want to be an architect, and I'm like, okay, cool, and someday you could have your own firm. You know what I'm saying? And so, so that's kind of where I'm at, you know.
With the whole education thing, and I think like your generation and my generation, we like, it's hard to like get away from what our parents think or taught us. Because like I tell people all the time, my mom taught me how to survive. Yeah. And I thank her for that, because I wouldn't be here right now if she didn't teach me how to survive. But my mom, I'm now financially smarter than my mom, and she get on my case every time I say this on air. But she's smarter than me in so many other situations. Like my mom knows. My mom was born in the 80s. Crack baby, if you know anything about Texas. That's what crack was being pumped through and through. So she know how to really come from the bottom, but never even thought about what, like the stocks that I have, like the things that. So we gotta thank that generation, but
absolutely
we gonna evolve. Like we talked about earlier, we're gonna evolve.
We're so on the same page, man. Because I make that comment a lot too. You know, when I think about what my mom and dad went through, my parents were born in the 50s, you know? And so...
way different time.
Man, way different times and a different set of challenges. And it was... I mean, it's about survival now still.
Absolutely.
It was just kind of a different kind of thing back then. And I think about that a lot. You know, what my parents instilled in me was really for my protection at the time, you know? And it was based off of their experiences.
Yeah.
And now times are evolving. We still need to protect ourselves for sure, but we can do it a little bit differently now.
Yeah,
you know, we can fight back a little bit smarter now, and a big part of that is financial literacy.
Yeah, no.
And I'm gonna be honest with you, man. Like my dad, especially, he's actually he's really financially literate, but like I didn't really absorb all the stuff. And he tried a couple times to like sit me down and be like, "Oh, these are mutual funds." And blah blah blah.
I ain't trying to hit it.
I just didn't get it. You know, and like I'm actually like just now at 36 years old, being like, okay, like I really do got to figure out this like long-term game
for sure.
You know, and so I've been. You put me on to Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Yep.
So I'm listening to that on Audible.
Game changer.
My homeboy Brando, the same dude that put me onto your podcast.
I gotta meet him.
He put me on to this book called Rich and Righteous.
Ooh.
Or something like that. Yeah,
I haven't heard of that one.
And I believe it's called Rich and Righteous. And I think the author, and you know, it's a black dude that's the author of this book. I think his angle is kind of more maybe about like real estate and stuff like that. You know, which I'm not gonna lie, like the real estate stuff looks like super lucrative and it kind of looks easy, but I'm like scared to death. I'm like, you know, I'm scared. I'm scared.
Look, when you finish listening to Rich Dad, because he big on real estate too.
Yeah.
When you finish listening to that, you'll know a lot more about the game. Because like me and my fiance trying to get into the game literally right now as we speak. But like man, it's scary. No,
I know. I'm scared, man.
I'm scared.
Because even if you buy a property, let's say I don't know if there's like $5,000 homes in Des Moines. Maybe there are, maybe there aren't, right? I'll just say that, you know, like
$5,000.
Well, I'm saying somewhere throughout the country they have like really cheap homes, right? All right, cool. All right, so let's say even if you buy a $5,000 home, my trepidation without like having much education behind that is like, okay, the house is $5,000. Okay, cool, but like, what if it needs like 20 grand worth of work and we're, you know, all that stuff, you know, and I'm sure there's
look, this is a knowledge-based podcast. I'm so glad you say that. So this is what I learned, and I'll help you. So I know this will help others because you're a very knowledgeable brother yourself.
All right.
So when you get that, when you pay that for that crib $5,000 down, what you do is you go to the bank and you take out a mortgage on the house for $80,000. Say it costs $80,000 to fix the house up. You already own the house outright. So you take out an $80,000 mortgage to pay the people to fix the house, and now you already got so much equity in the game, and you don't start paying on that mortgage, the $80,000 mortgage, until the property is ready to go. And so now you gotta think about it. Okay. You done built the house that's worth $130,000, and you built it for $85,000. Now you making money right out the gate, and you don't have to live in this house because it was a flipper. You rebuilt it, so you can rent it out right away, or you can just sell it for $130,000, and you just created $50,000.
Man,
you can take out a mortgage on that money to update it. Like, so yeah, that like hey, I'm telling you, when you read, you knew that, Marquis. All right,
Oh my God! See, y'all young brothers, man. Y'all educating the old timer here, man. Y'all educating the old timer.
Look, you know me. Hey, when I say you were scared, you know what scaredness is? It's ignorance. I'm that way. I'm still. I want to be scared every time somebody tell me something. Like,
yeah.
I gotta go find that out. I want that because like ignorance it keeps you honest, it keeps you humble, and you be a student. I think you should be a student your whole life. But we're gonna talk too. We got that. You match my 5,000. We can go.
I'm gonna need that game. I'm gonna need that game. You know, it's like stuff about like investing and stuff. It's like it's a little. That's kind of scary too. But like, it's a little bit more traditional to invest in the stock market and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? But like, yeah, man, I see the clips out there. You see the memes.
They make it seem so easy.
Makes it seem so easy. You gotta
be a student.
Yeah,
and you gotta be a student. I got another book I'm gonna recommend off air though, cause I ain't read it yet.
Okay. I feel.
Nah, man. To wrap this one up. Oh man, I can keep going.
I know, same here, man.
Y'all see. I can literally keep flowing. Y'all see it's dark outside. I gotta get Marquis. We got 2 married brothers in here, man. I gotta get them home to their wives, man. But no, man. I want to wrap this up with we need some wisdom. So, the only chip in the cookie pod. What would you say to white people in America about the one golden nugget you'll tell them just for understanding? And what would you say to the black people about something that we can do better? Because we in a war. We in an all-out war, like with America.
Man, I'll just say this. At the end of the day, you're right. We are in a war. And I tell people all the time, though, especially like my white ally friends.
Got a ton of them.
Or the wannabe ally friends.
I got a ton of them, too.
Right, yeah.
Because there's 2 different people.
There's 2 different people.
Because I got good white people and I got white people I don't know.
Yeah. And so for the ones that like are kind of venting to me about, their frustrations with like other like racist white folks or whatnot, I remind them, I say, man, you can come back, you can have all the clapbacks in the world, but it's really a mind state, and it takes a lot to change somebody's mind state.
It's powerful.
So as an ally, you got to focus on what you can control. If you're in a conversation, if you're having a conversation with somebody and they say something racist, well then as an ally, it's your responsibility to be anti-racist. So nip it in the bud. Call them out. Excuse me? What did you say? I don't think that joke is funny or whatever, But, we are, I would say, this podcast is about building bridges as well,
Absolutely.
And
we're not trying to cause more division.
Absolutely,
That's a big message.
And I remember, like, I had actually, I talked about this on the podcast, but there was a gentleman that hit me up one day, and he was just saying, and normally I would kind of ignore these kinds of questions, but like we were building some rapport, and he's someone that I trust, and he was just straight up like, I really want to introduce myself to this black family down the street. I don't know them at all. I don't know anything about them. I don't really have anything to say to them. But like with everything going on, I just think about them a lot, and I just want them to know that I have their backs, and I just simply said, then do it, next time you're both out mowing your lawn or something like that, cut the engine off and wave or something like that. Every time you see that person, treat them like a human. You know what I'm saying? Like, acknowledge that brother, and this is in the middle of the pandemic, I said, make sure you have your mask on and strike up some small talk here and there, start building that relationship that way.
No, for sure.
They may or may not be into you,
That's important.
But that's a first step that I feel like people don't really do that anymore, especially in this social media age. It's like it's who's gonna send the friend request first, that
Man,
kind
come
of
on,
thing.
bro.
I don't know, man. It's like people kind of forgot this art of just like building a relationship organically, And so, but yeah, so I guess to the allies listening, those are a couple
Nuggets.
couple nuggets, couple gems there, couple chips.
Yeah,
couple
chips in the podcast.
Word, absolutely.
Yeah,
and then to us, man, to the brothers and sisters out there, like now is the time to just be more aware of our history. I certainly would recommend listening to Ibram X. Kendi for sure. He does a great job of not only talking about anti-racism, but really kind of giving us a clear picture of what this country has been about.
Who was that?
Ibram X. Kendi.
Okay.
He wrote the book. He wrote an awesome book called How to Be an Anti-Racist. But he also has a book called Stamped from the Beginning.
Wait, is this the black author who got a book only for white people too? Like he got. No, I'm thinking about somebody else.
I don't know, but this dude, like, he's got like long locks.
He's Muslim.
I don't know if he's Muslim.
Okay.
I don't know if he's Muslim or not.
Talk about somebody else.
But look, he's a big deal. He's a big deal. Ibram X. Kendi. Look, now's the time for us to educate ourselves on our position, and then at the same time, let's educate ourselves on our financials, and we have to find a way to support each other. The kind of change that we all want, the kind of change that we're all hoping to see. I don't know if it's going to happen in our lifetime, but just imagine if we raise our kids, if we raise our sons and daughters to have their own, to build their own economies. Maybe we can keep that dollar circling a little bit longer than the 6 minutes or whatever it is. Right?
No, for sure.
It's gonna take some time. So
it starts with the youth, man, and you got 5 wonderful kids you get to pour into, and I just knowing you from a small time, man, it's gonna be those kids are gonna do awesome things to impact this world in the future. So.
Thanks, big
starts with the youth, man.
Hey, man, and your kids are going to do some cool things,
Appreciate
too, man.
That. Lord, I don't know if we ready for another Jew. No, I'm just playing.
Man, that would be so awesome. And I'll tell you what, man, when you and your lovely bride, if you guys ever need a babysitter, come hit us up, man.
Got you,
my
bro.
wife and I, we love kids. We love having kids over.
Yep. Same, man. We babysit for like 3 different families right now, bro. Like, we just bring your kids if you need somebody.
I love that.
Same. But, man, it's been an honor and a pleasure to get you on, man. Brother, thank you, man. This relationship gonna grow, and man, we hope to get you back up here again in the future season, man. Because we appreciate your presence.
Hey, I appreciate that, man, and likewise, man. We'd love to have you on the show sometime.
No doubt. Sign me up.
And listen, hey, but can I get some shout outs before we jump off?
Run it.
All right,
This is your bragging session.
All right, hey, well, first of all, I would just like to say you can follow me on my social platforms at Larry from Iowa. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Twitter. You can follow the podcast Instagram at Chip and Cookie Pod. And
it's going to be in the description below.
That's on Instagram as well.
T-shirt business.
We have a T-shirt business, and that's Neighborhood Twit, neighborhoodtwit.com.
Description below.
Yep, I was gonna say it's spelled kind of funky.
Send it to me.
I'll send it to you, my brother.
Yep.
And I'd just like to give a shout out. Definitely want to shout out my lovely wife Ariana.
Absolutely.
I want to shout out our babies, and definitely want to shout out my co-host Shekinah.
Yeah.
She's awesome. She's a force, man. Honestly, she's like the next. I tell her all the time. She's like the next Oprah.
Yeah. She's dope. You gotta link me,
bro. Oh, absolutely, man.
You gotta link me.
She's a big deal.
We ready for her.
She's a big deal. Like, I'm like, dude, you need your own podcast.
Yeah. Oh, I need it. Yeah, I need to talk to her. Yep.
Absolutely, man. No, but it's been a pleasure, man. I love your show, and it's just so cool to actually like be here.
Yeah, this the spot. Shout out Good Vibes, man.
Shout out Good Vibes. Brandon, I haven't met you yet, but I'm gonna meet you someday.
Ben.
I'm sorry, damn.
No, you good, cousin Brandon.
Okay,
cousin Brandon.
My bad. My bad. Big Ben. I appreciate what you're doing for the community.
He just texted me. No, it's all love, man. Hey, if you enjoyed this video from me and Larry, man, please hit that thumbs up button and make sure y'all hit that subscribe button if y'all haven't, and share this with a friend or two. Appreciate you, Larry, baby. Peace.